There's something that I wanted to tell you. My wife specifically said I have to say this. So there's something I found in an interview of yours, which is sort of what my wife told me when we got married and had a conversation about being married to each other. Because I was showing her the movie,
Interesting.
the really old '96 movie, Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise movie, and there's this iconic line that goes, "You complete me." Right? And she would always tell me, no, you don't complete me, you compliment me. And I was like, no way. And I wouldn't agree to her for ages. And then I saw your interview, and unfortunately, she was with me. And then
I endorsed her.
You did say that. You said that. I think it was Dhanya Verma interview, right? I think
Yes.
You said, no, when you get married, you don't complete each other. You complement each other, and that's what's required.
Yes.
So I'll have to live with this for the rest of my life.
What's your wife's name?
Tanya.
Tanya. Hi, Tanya.
Okay, she will love that. But when you said it, I took note.
Look at that.
And I was like, yeah, maybe there is a different perspective. So it's very interesting, although I didn't think of it at the time. Can you explain a little further how that works in relationships? And do you think that could be carried on even for Gen Z as they get married, the understanding that you don't necessarily complete each other, but complement each other?
All of us get married. Nowadays, all of us get married at an age where, we are already by ourselves, right? And we have our own preferences, we have our own choices, we have our personalities, we have our priorities, and we have a whole lot of experiences in our life. What I was, till that point, until I married him, does not get negated by the fact that I am married to somebody now, right? So I think as women, it is especially important for us to keep reminding us of that. Also because most of the women, I'm not saying all, the trend is changing now, but most of the women still have to relocate into their husbands' homes. Now, it's not just a physical relocation. I keep telling people that there is a huge set of diaspora within Kerala that we don't pay attention to. Wives who have moved from their own houses to other houses. So we are all pravasis in our own ways.
Okay.
So, and then we make it our home, right? And that process is something which is always taken for granted. And during that process, every wife is expected to let go of her past and embrace the present and work relentlessly for the future.
Right.
I don't think it works that way, Yes, you embrace the past, you work for the future, that's fine. But letting go of the past is not something which you should do for a healthy relationship.
Right.
Because that will always come back to haunt you as a shadow. If you feel that, I have actually let go of how many ever years has it been, 25 years, 30 years, 35 years of your life on this earth, which has been remarkable in its own unique ways for each of us, right? So, marriage actually negating your past is not something that I would stand for. And that is where I come from when I say you don't complete me, So I am a whole, and so are you. So we hold hands together and walk towards the same direction. Our pace might be different, our strides might be different, our gaze might be different. All that's perfectly fine. But we hold hands and walk together in the same direction is all that you want in a marriage, actually. So that removes a lot of friction from the marriage, and that also reduces the burden of expectations in traditional marriages as such, I think. If you have this basic understanding that you're two different individuals, I think that's it. That's about it. For us, it's been, I would say, he's a hardcore non-vegetarian. I am a complete vegetarian.
Okay.
So right from that point, our differences start. So there are so many things in life which, we are so different and so varied from each other in our preferences or in our choices, like I mentioned. And being that way is what makes us click. If I had tried to change myself a lot for him, or if he had tried to change himself a lot for me, knowingly or intentionally, it would have been very different. But having said that, I'm aware of relationships, or I have witnessed relationships wherein over the years people grow with each other and they kind of fuse into this one complete human being, right? Like two people actually growing into each other and fusing together.
Correct.
I mean, metaphorically, of course.
Yes.
But I have been witness to such relationships.
Okay.
So, but that is something that should happen naturally, and I hope that it happens someday.
You've commended our Chief Minister on a number of occasions, and understandably so. But when I look at previous Chief Ministers, whether it's Oommen Chandy or even previous Communist Chief Ministers, the one thing that I felt different about Sri Pinarayi Vijayan is that, or the one thing I found different about the other Chief Ministers is that they've all been approachable in some sense. Even when you watch them, you feel like, okay, I could go. Just like you are, like you're very approachable, right? So we feel that some of the opinions that you have may not resonate with the people, probably because they've not worked with him. They don't understand his working style. As you understand his working style, because you worked with him up close, can you tell us something that we may not know about Pinarayi Vijayan and his style that you like?
I think people do resonate with him.
No, they do, but on this particular aspect, maybe.
It's about, how each leader carves their own persona. Each truly great leader, if you look at history, every truly great leader carves their own persona. And being like another is a disadvantage. So I think in that sense, there is none other like him, as you rightly said, and that's what makes him truly different. That's from a mass perspective, I say. Or rather, that's what I used to think of him when I was a child, or when I had looked at him from a distance, as a mere citizen. That was my perspective. When I started working with him, I realized that, having a leader who respects you for who you are, for the work you do, is the single most important element that you need to have to work well.
Right.
And I think, I have received it 100% from him, from his team, and that has enabled me, as you said, to take deep plunges into adventures in my work as well. And as a result, probably produce some results as well.
Right.
So, to me, I would say that, as a bureaucrat, as an officer, it is extremely important that, you're respected for the work you do, and you're respected for the potential that you have. And I don't think there would be anyone who differs in that opinion. Like any officer you talk to, not only officers, any employee you talk to, that I think would be his hallmark as a leader, that he respects every single human being who come in front of him, and you're valued, and that is very important.
Right.
So that's in a working environment. When somebody places faith in you, you tend to rise, to live up to that faith. That's a common human tendency. So being able to spot the right person for the right job, and to be able to, trust them with a responsibility, and to be able to respect their efforts, I think is the hallmark of any leader, any good leader.
Yes.
So you would also agree with that.
Absolutely,
I suppose.
absolutely. I mean, there's no denying the fact that he's a strong and a bold leader. I just wanted to know that since you work closely with him, I don't feel like a lot of people would know that, right? I mean,
There was this, one instance where it happened just a few months ago, wherein I was asked to, go and meet him for discussing about something as part of work. So I had gone there at the scheduled time. He's extremely, he gives a lot of importance on punctuality. Okay. So I'd gone there, 5 minutes ahead of the given time, and I was waiting there. And exactly at that point of time, at I think 4 o'clock or so, his office told me that something urgent has come up and he has to leave, So the appointment is cancelled. Okay. So he would call you on a different time and date. So I said, okay. And I was still, waiting there trying to discuss with him some aspects of the project. And at that point again, 2 minutes later, they came back to me and they said, sir is calling you. So I walked in and then he told me that I have to go for this particular, emergency meeting. So I will meet you on another day. You can go now. Thank you. The Chief Minister of the state need not do that, right? Of course, his office has informed me that the appointment is cancelled and I get to leave. That's all.
Right.
But when I say he respects people, this is what I mean.
Okay.
There is no need for him to call me and tell me in person that, I know you're here, but I cannot meet you now. I will meet you later. And, that kind of etiquettes, that kind of chivalry, that kind of respect, again, I would say is a dying art these days. People don't make that effort to, to reach out to somebody and to tell them that, or to let them know that you're valued and you're respected.
Right. Yeah.
And that I think is very important when you want to elicit good work out of people.
Correct, yes. I don't usually like revisiting controversies, but...
oh, you are now. With me, you're revisiting every single controversy.
But I think I have a... That's because I want to explain to people what I think of it. This is positive, I swear. So, when you took Malhar on stage and gave a speech, you said this was not for me, but for all the women out there, for all the mothers out there, for all the sisters out there. Again, didn't resonate to me at the time, but as I was researching, and now that I'm older, I think back to the time, as you rightly said, to the time when I was studying. I did chartered accountancy, and I had classes early in the morning at 6 to 9 class, 9 to 6 articleship, 6 to 9 class again. I was in Chennai, I had to wake up at 5. My mom would wake up at 4 just to make sure that I wake up at 5. Wow. She'd call me over and over again just to make sure that I'm out there in the class on time. And this happened for a very long time. I took it for granted, never really even gave it a thought.
Yeah.
Now that my sister's married, has kids, and I saw it firsthand what she had to do and go to work, I realized it is wrong to come back from work, for all men out there, to say that you want to know how my day went. Okay. The one question that can destroy it all is a working woman saying, you want to know how my day went? So how to navigate that, I think that was a good message, although it was again misconstrued. So what is your, I wouldn't say advice, your thought that can be given out to working women who struggle with kids, sometimes even taking care of, I don't know if it's politically correct to say, taking care of husbands as well. What is your message to them, or what is your word of encouragement to them?
To paraphrase Indira Nui, you cannot do it all. That's I think that's an accepted norm these days. So don't be too harsh on yourself. And my 2 cents would be ask for help.
Right.
Now, help can come from any direction. It could be your friend, it could be your sibling, it could be somebody whom you hire, it could be your parents, it could be your family, it could be your colleagues. It could be just a stranger even sometimes, But ask for help. It's perfectly normal. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. And to think for yourself that you are solely responsible for your child is the biggest, piece of injustice that you would be delivering to yourself and probably to the child also. So ask for help. And to me, in that particular instance, I think ever since that, even now, as you see, I have taken him along wherever I could. And in no way has it actually come in my way of delivering my duties. And it's only to make sure that this whole notion of work-life balance. I say I'm slightly deviating from your direct question. The whole notion of work-life balance, to keep it as watertight compartments, is a myth. It doesn't exist. Being a woman, being a mother, for me personally, I can say that there is no work and life as two separate entities at any point of time. To me, that's why I keep saying that I'm 24/7. I'm a mom 24/7. I'm an officer, and I cannot escape from both of that at any point of time in my life. Even if I'm sleeping at 12 at night, at 2 early in the morning, at 4 early in the morning, I have had to wake up and deliver my duties. When I was a district collector in Pathanamthitta, again, you have floods. You have 24/7. You have rescue operations going on. Even if there is no catastrophe like that, say during our Shabrimala season, again it's in the middle of the night or in the wee hours of the day that people actually start climbing up. Right? So that point of time, you need to be alert and awake, and so there is no fixed time for our jobs, and of course there is no fixed time for spending time with your child also, right? Yeah. So I tend to seamlessly blend the two of them. Yeah. And it is not even a balance, I wouldn't even call it a balance. It is actually an equilibrium that exists. So again, going back to chemistry class, I don't know why I'm talking so much of chemistry today, but
maybe the chemistry worked out.
Yeah, I suppose. That's a good one. Okay. So, in chemistry, when you talk about equilibrium, there is always a reaction, a subliminal reaction that is happening. Yeah. It's just that the system is stable, right? Within that, when there are two compounds, they are continuously reacting, or there are two molecules that are continuously reacting in a state of equilibrium. Right. It's not that they're standing still. As they say, each family has their own way of making a sambar, right? Like sambar never tastes the same in two families. So
absolutely true.
Raising a child also would be like that. But for me, I have blended the two seamlessly, and there is a sense of equilibrium in my life, which I'm comfortable with. And I think it is advantageous to the child also when you do that. Because I don't want my son to think, to grow up thinking that his mother is just his caretaker and his provider. Yeah? His mother, again, the same theory or the same philosophy from where I said that you don't complete me and you compliment me. It's the same thing here. I don't want to negate, decades of my life just because I have become somebody's mother either, So I want him to understand whom I have been all my life and how other people see me. And there is more to me than being his caretaker, than being his nurturer. There is more to me as a woman, as a person, and I want him to see that and understand me as a whole.
Because you spoke about marriage and we spoke about chemistry, I think the right person to speak about right now is Mr. Shabarinath. I should have asked you this to begin with. You may have mentioned this in other interviews, but I would love for my audience to know how you guys met, because as a speciality, you're probably the only IAS MLA couple, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so can you tell me how that came about? Because I know him in person. I've met him a couple of times. We've spoken over the phone, texted. So I just I'm curious as well, personally.
I think we met at the right time more than anything else. So I was Sub-Collector Trivandrum at that point of time, and he was the MLA of Arvikara constituency, and we actually met in a meeting in the collectorate. That was the first instance of, I mean, we knew that we existed prior to that, but, meeting as such.
Okay.
So strangely enough, that was a meeting on resolving man-animal conflict, if I remember right. So very romantic, right?
Right.
So I think the district collector was supposed to attend that meeting, and for some reason that didn't happen. So I was asked to step in the 11th hour. The ADM and other deputy collectors and all were there, but I was still asked to step in the 11th hour. So I actually went for the meeting a few minutes late.
Okay.
So he had already come. He was on the dais, sitting there. And, I made this entry through the middle of the audience.
Grand entry.
Grand entry. I was feeling, very shy and very, guilty inside.
And you were late.
I was late, so I was guilty. Obviously, you have MLAs and the rest of them sitting there, and then you're walking in late. You're not supposed to, right? So, though I was very guilty and shy within myself, I think I tried to overcome it with a splash of smile on my face. And I walked in and I saw him just staring at me, sitting on the desk, on top of the desk like that.
That was man-woman conflict.
Yeah, must be.
Okay. Was he angry?
No, he was not the only MLA.
Okay.
There were lots of others
Everybody
also.
angry.
Yeah, everybody was there. But they didn't really mind it because, I was not the person who was supposed to take the meeting or anything. I was just, another person in the meeting. Okay. So it was okay. So I just walked in there and I greeted them and I greeted him also and sat there. But I knew that you understand it, right? Especially as a girl, you understand it when a man looks at you, right? So I knew that he looked at me from this, and I was like, okay. You make a small note of that in your head. So that was the first meeting. I said, so we made some routine official conversations there. And I think there were similar instances after that also. In various meetings, we would meet and talk. And then there was one medical camp, which I had taken initiative to conduct in his constituency in a tribal area. It was in Vidura. So I, freshly minted doctor also, I was very enthusiastic about this whole thing. And when I went there, I met, the lovely people there, and from the tribal colonies they had come. So I sat there for the entire medical camp, and, I also worked as a doctor there, not only as a sub-collector, not only as a civil servant. So, I put on my steth and I tried to talk to people. So that grabbed the attention of some media persons. So that came in the newspaper. So again, he saw that, and then he reached out to me after that. And so he said, I would like to discuss some further projects which we could do regarding, all of that. So
Who knew this was the project?
I know. So I would say that was a real clinching point. If I had not decided to be the doctor that day, probably this twist would not have come. So
interesting chain of events.
But there was also a proposal somewhere in the air, which was there were other people outside of us who were thinking of linking us together. Okay. And so that had already come. So this I haven't said to anyone before.
But I think I know.
So that was also happening somewhere in the background. There was a hum that was already happening. And then when we met, and things kind of just worked out. I think we found two things in common, and we thought that was enough.
To be fair to him, though, when he said he reached out, I honestly think he had no other intention but to reach out. I'll tell you why. Because I sit for discussions, news debates discussions with a lot of politicians. Right after we had a discussion, I didn't really heap praises on Congress party either. Right after the discussion, he texted me. Yeah. The next day, he called me and he said, "I love the way you spoke. You spoke facts. It was nice." Yeah. and then stay in touch.
Yeah.
I love that about him. So I thought it was a very genuine response, and
he still does that. He still does that to a lot of people. If he goes and watches a movie, he would come back, and then he would figure out who is the director or anyone's stellar performances or script writers, and so he would try and find out their numbers, and then he would write to them and connect with them, tell them how beautiful their movie was. So he might have put it out. Already a review might be on Insta or something, or Facebook or so, but he would personally want to reach out. So that's something which he does. And his dad had a very, similar quality. So I think, he has told me that he's picked it up from his dad. So it is also, like paying respect to him. Because I remember, so I have an experience with his dad in that sense. Okay. So when I got when I entered civil services in 2014, he was the speaker in Niyamasabha here, Kerala. So at that point, he had sent out a letter of congratulations to our entire batch of civil servants, which actually was, kind of kept as a beautiful memorabilia by my dad.
Okay.
And so when we got married, and when I came to Shabri's house, after that, when my parents came visiting, the first thing that my dad gave me was a framed letter. Okay. Which was a letter from G. Karthikeyan.
Wow. And what did it say exactly?
Yeah, it was a letter of congratulations for the achievement.
Wow.
So, and he had signed it. So I think that is. I have not met him in person. I have not interacted with him. I've briefly had an encounter. I briefly met him in one of the events. That was before I became a civil servant. But after I became a civil servant, obviously I haven't had the chance to meet him. So, that is something which is very precious to the family as well.
I'll just end with this question. I've always wanted to ask this question. My previous guest also had a similar profile. She was a doctor. You were a doctor. Redu Raj is a doctor. Sri Raman is a doctor. Dr. Adira, who I think held your position, Vizhinjam, right? She was the MD of Vizhinjam. She was a doctor. So what's up with all the doctors stealing administrative positions? Is it because I've seen more often than not they are able to clear it? Is it the lifestyle? Is it the load that they already had to endure?
I think it's not. I don't think it's more doctors clearing civil services. I don't think there is a chance. You keep hearing. Yeah. Probably they come into the forefront. Yeah. But when you look at any batch of civil servants, you find a healthy mix of all professions actually.
Right.
But people are, as you said, a bit bewildered as to why would you go and do MBBS for 4.5 plus 1 year of internship. I mean, you spend 5 years of your life there, and then why do you want to turn into a civil servant and not continue there? So those questions keep popping up all the time. So probably that's because, that's why we become more visible in that sense. But there are lots of lawyers who turn to civil services. There are lots of MBA, graduates who turn to civil services. There are loads of engineers who turn to civil services, and every other profession actually. There are architects who have come into civil services. There are historians who've come into civil services. I think. There are people from all professions in civil services. Right. There are nurses who have come into civil services. So a lot of people do opt for civil services even today from all professions, I would think. Okay. I don't think there is any direct link between doctors and civil servants, except for the fact that medicine as such was not an optional subject for the UPSC exams until the 90s or so. Okay. I don't remember the exact year, but it was sometime in the 90s that they introduced medicine as an optional subject. So otherwise, when you do your MBBS, after that, you're at a disadvantage because you don't, everybody else have got their graduate subject as an optional subject in civil service exams. So you don't have to relearn everything right from scratch when you're preparing for the examination. But here, so when I did my civil service exams, it was, I took medicine as one of my optional subjects.
Okay.
And the year I cleared, it was only one optional subject model. So I took medicine again. So I cleared the exam with medicine as my optional subject.
Okay.
So that is something, again, if you have done your MBBS reasonably well, your UPSC medicine paper would be a breeze. So because, of course, you study for so many years, it doesn't go waste.
Yes.
So that might be one of the reasons why you have a higher chance of clearing. But that is only if you choose to take medicine as your optional subject. But other professions, mostly, there is something linked to your undergraduate education, which is already present in UPSC. So probably that's the reason in earlier days you didn't have too many doctors, and now you have many doctors.
Right, okay.
So that could be the difference.
Right. Okay. Well, this I say from the bottom of my heart. I didn't even know how much time we spoke. It was that engaging, and as you, although we said it as a joke, the chemistry did work out. So it was engaging, inspirational, informative as well. I got a lot of answers for myself. I hope the audience did as well. So thank you so much for spending time with us, and I hope you resonate with the crowd, and I hope you attain more heights as you always have done in the past. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nirmal. I think it was very stimulating for me also, and I am a person who, who attains clarity by expressing. So we all have our own ways of attaining clarity and attaining stability. My way of attaining clarity out of chaos is by expressing. So expression through words, expression, through any form of art or creativity or action, whatever it is, but I need to express. So thank you for giving me a platform for expressing and attaining a slightly better level of clarity in my thoughts. So thank you so much.
I hope we'll get to meet and talk again. Thank you.
Definitely. All the very best for your venture. May you grow far and wide.
Thank you.